Number 15. Jaguar vs. Cayman. Caimans are the last animals you want to mess with. These crocs native to the Amazon basin are known to attack humans unprovoked and have the jaws to bite your limbs clean off. But unfortunately for this caiman, the jaguar wasn't going down without a fight. The jaguar ambushed the caiman and dragged the 8-foot reptile out of the water. Suffice to say, this meal is going to last the jaguar a while. Number 14. Orcas vs. tiger shark. It's anyone's guess who the predator here is and who the prey. Both orcas, also called killer whales, and the tiger shark are two of the greatest predators of the underwater world. This moment captured between them really is a battle. 3 orcas were spotted ganging up on one tiger shark. Now, don't feel too bad because tiger sharks are responsible for their fair share of human attacks. Unfortunately, the tiger shark couldn't dominate in this fight. We're not surprised. If they're called killer whales, and there are 3 of them, you already know who's winning. They forced the shark to the surface of the water and flipped it onto its back, thereby paralyzing it. They then bit its fins off before making a meal of the shark. Now tiger sharks are not what we would typically consider prey for obvious reasons. But for this group of orcas, it certainly was. Sometimes the tables are turned, and there have been reports of tiger sharks and great whites eating whales. So it's a regular war in the sea amongst the 2 families.
Number 13. Lion vs. honey badger.
What could go wrong? This little honey badger is happily scurrying along when it crosses paths with a lion. The lion sees its next meal, but doesn't know how aggressive these creatures can be and approaches. When the badger begins to defend himself, the lion is obviously left a little confused. The badger emits a loud sound to deter the lion, which obviously works. The king of the grasslands probably isn't used to this much pushback from its prey. He follows the badger for a while, but it's clear he's too afraid to attack with all his might because he's still a little unsure. At this point, he just looks comical rather than intimidating. If you're ever scared of a lion at the zoo, just think of this footage and you'll laugh to yourself. If you think a badger fighting back is impressive, just wait till number 1. It's going to shock you. Number 12. Mega shark vs. octopus. We miss out on a load of entertainment happening underwater. Many battles happen deep in the ocean, unbeknownst to us, and there are regular encounters between octopuses and sharks. We only get to see these battles if they're in a tank in a zoo, which is where this instance was recorded. If you've ever seen Jaws, or even if you haven't, you're probably afraid of sharks, but octopuses aren't any less of a threat. This blue shark was swimming along, minding its own business, when an octopus launched itself from its hiding spot and tried to take down the 12-foot-long predator. Of course, the octopus is not so small himself, with a weight of 600 pounds and a 30-foot tentacle, so it's anyone's guess who could win. After a few minutes of struggle, when it looks like the shark has been engulfed in tentacles and might die, we see it actually devour the octopus. Sharks prefer squids and other crustaceans for their meals, but if an octopus is going to challenge them, we're guessing it won't follow its diet so strictly. Number 11. Honey badgers vs. 6 lions. If 2 honey badgers were pit against 6 lions, who was coming out alive? The answer should be so obvious, but it isn't. These 2 badgers crossed into dangerous territory when they entered a lion's den. The pack was probably excited to see their dinners literally walk to them, and they pounced. But a lioness got bitten on the nose and retreated, allowing the badgers to make a clean escape. How funny would it be if this was the same badger entering into the pack of the same lion from earlier? Number 10. Rabbit versus snake. It's easy to guess which one would make it out alive in a normal situation. A fluffy little rabbit has no chance against a venomous snake, or so you would think. This snake found a rabbit's nest and was gearing up for a buffet breakfast of bunny babies when the mother arrived. This video is a testament to what a mother can do if her babies are under threat. This rabbit fights the snake with all her might, and when the snake realizes it's not getting that meal, it tries to slither away. Well, the mother isn't finished yet. She pulls the snake back for one final hit before letting it go. I guess the moral here is never to mess with a mother's baby. Number 9. Wild dogs versus wildebeest. Wild dogs make for some of the best hunters in the world. In fact, they make for great companions when people go hunting for big game. But size isn't their advantage, especially against the wildebeest. The top bull of the pack charges right at one of the dogs and puts him on the ground while other dogs continue to attack. Suffice to say, the dogs didn't get their dinner that night. Number 8. Polar bear versus walrus. Polar bears require a lot of fat to survive the never-ending winter. With their 18% body fat, walruses make for the perfect meal for these bears and are often prey to these massive predators. As fluffy and cozy as a polar bear would look, they are actually powerful animals you do not want to mess with. One walrus either wasn't aware of this fact or simply didn't care. This 9-foot-long, 1,500-pound bear met its match in a walrus of 4,400 pounds, with tusks. The herd of elephant walruses formed a wall to protect the young and elderly, and we can see how the bear is trying to find any vulnerable point in the wall. It finally got its hands on one outlier, but they fought back with their 3-foot-long tusks, leaving the poor polar bear with an empty stomach. Number 7. Seal versus shark. This epic battle went down in the Pacific Ocean, and some were lucky enough to capture it. Sea lions haven't made a habit of eating thresher and leopard sharks, but they could if they wanted to. This footage filmed on Laguna Beach shows a sea lion take down a leopard shark with almost no effort at all. While sharks may be at the top of the food chain in the ocean, it is almost always no match for a 770-pound sea lion. We say almost because sharks are known to make a snack of seals, so this one was probably fighting for its pack. Number 6. King cobra versus python. If an elephant can die from a single bite of a king cobra, a python shouldn't be a problem, right? Well, that's what this 4-meter-long king cobra thought, at least. These are some of the most venomous snakes in the world, and they make meals of massive snakes too. Well, this python wasn't having it. It constricted itself around the body of the cobra and suffocated it. It was a long battle, but the cobra eventually died. Unfortunately, its venom took effect, and the python died too. At least it was a noble end. Number 5. Kangaroo versus dog. Kangaroos, as we've found recently, are basically the bodybuilders of the animal kingdom. When they stand to their full height, they look ripped. Definitely not animals you want to mess with. Dogs, however, don't discriminate. They just attack, and whatever happens, happens. Well, this time, it so happened that the kangaroo wasn't feeling very playful. A tourist captured this moment between a dog and a kangaroo. But the kangaroo uses its weight to keep the dog underwater until it drowns. This is actually quite a common technique for kangaroos under attack. They lead the dog to water, and when the dog attacks, they hold them down until they drown and die. It must be difficult for the owner to see their dog meet such a gruesome end. Number 4. Otter versus croc. Otters are undoubtedly one of the cutest, happiest little animals on the planet. The internet is full of adorable pictures of otters with teddy bears, smiling otters, and otters holding hands. Aww. But there is a species of giant otters, and while they're still cute, they can also be aggressive when they need to be. When it looked like this Cayman croc was getting too close for comfort to this nest of otters, the males stepped in to defend it. At first, they tried to distract the Cayman while others attacked from the front. They went in so hard, they actually managed to kill the Cayman. Caymans are not easy to bring down. They are even responsible for several human fatalities. So, you can understand how impressive it is that this pack of otters managed to kill one. This is a story these otters will be telling their grandkids for sure. Number 3. Anteater versus Jaguar. What happens when a jaguar tries to bite off more than what they can chew? Predators generally go for baby anteaters, as the adults are too much work to fight and pin down. Well, this jaguar was probably in the mood for a bigger lunch and decided to take his chances. Anteaters can be pretty ferocious fighters and have strong forelimbs and claws. The claws are used to tear into termite nests or anthills, but it can be used for other things too. But in this clip, it looks like he wasn't looking to use his claws, but rather tease the jaguar by laying low on the ground and inviting the jaguar to attack, before pulling a 180 on him. Zebra versus lion. Zebras are often a favorite of the grassland predators. They're almost always preyed upon by groups of lionesses, but this one, oddly enough, is all alone. It looks like she's got a pretty good grip on it, but we all know where this is going. The zebra gets up and fights back, and for a few seconds, the zebra is on top of the lioness and pins her down. Once he's free of her, he even delivers a few kicks to her snout. This makes for another story to pass down to the grandkids. Number 1. Sloth versus harpy. Sloths aren't what you'd consider a fighter. Far from it. They are known to mistake their own limbs for branches and end up falling from trees and dying. That might sound sad and funny at the same time, but it's absolutely true. Well, this sloth seemed to be a little tougher and smarter because it managed to fight off this harpy eagle all by itself. Harpy eagles are hunting carnivores and apex predators and prey mostly on sloths, monkeys, and possums. They even prey on other birds and have powerful 4-inch talons to tear into an animal. Of course, the fact that this particular eagle was still young and inexperienced helped. However, it's still impressive for a sloth, especially given that it was a pretty old one.